QuaranJazz. Listen while you're home. Welcome to the 11th episode of QuaranJazz, your weekly update on what jazz musicians from all over the world are doing during social distancing time. I'm Geisa Fernandes, singer-songwriter and music researcher from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. This podcast has been created as a place for collaborations, new interactions, or simply for jazz musicians to vent a bit. Despite the far from perfect conditions that most of us have to face during social distancing, there are people out there doing what they always do, entertaining their fans with great music. So if you are a jazz musician and you would like to share your stories with us, drop me a line. In the description of this episode, you will find a link to my website, geisafernandes.com, and also a link to my mailing list, in case you want to save some clicks and just go right to the point. Well, if you are more a social network person, you can also find me on Facebook. Join the group The Touring Jazz Musician, named after a guide I wrote on jazz festivals that accept submissions directly from musicians. So if you got curious, if you'd like to know more about the jazz festival scene, join the discussion. Find us on Facebook, The Touring Jazz Musician. And talking about touring jazz musicians, this week's guest is a touring jazz musician. From Scotland, jazz guitarist David MacGregor. Hi, David. Great having you here. Thank you very much. So, let's start with the usual start. Can you please introduce yourself? Tell us a bit about your work, your influences.
Hi there, Geisa. Thank you so much for having me on your QuaranJazz podcast. It's really cool to do this. Let's kick things off. My name is David MacGregor. I'm a touring world jazz guitarist and composer. I'm originally from Scotland. And, my music is really, I guess, is music that's inspired from travelling, mainly, travelling all over the world and from the different sounds and the different experiences that I've had along the way. So it's a mixture of as much music as I can soak up, I would say is the easiest way to describe it. So it could be folk music from, say, Japan or from Mexico. It could be, European classical music, bossa nova, or from Brazil, something like that. All sorts of different inspirations over the years. Even if I think back to when I first started out, I was really into like heavy metal music and rock music and things like that. And I still listen to that sometimes and find inspiration in that. So kind of all these different styles that I've discovered from around the world all merged together along with some jazz harmony and improvisation. That would be the best way for me to describe my music.
All right. And David, so sorry I forgot to mention composer. You're not only a jazz guitarist, you're also a jazz songwriter. And by the way, are you working on something right now?
I've got my guitar with me now since I'm at home. One of the things I do a lot of is play a lot of solo guitar concerts. So I'm kind of trying to split my guitar into like a band. So, for example, you could have the bass player, the bass lines. Something like that. And then you might have the piano or one of the guys comping, playing some chords. So we could put those things together, the bass lines and the chords. Something like that. And then maybe we can also add melody. I'm playing around with blues. What about Freddie Freeloader? Little simple melody there. So I could put that together with some bass lines and some chords And I play full concerts in this kind of style. You can improvise. Anyway, you get the idea.
Fantastic. David, I also mentioned that you are from Scotland, but you are now not in Scotland. You are in the Netherlands, right? And what were your plans? What were you doing when the COVID crisis exploded there?
I am speaking to you today from my home here in The Hague in the Netherlands, here in Europe. And, what projects was I up to? One of the things I've been working on is I have a bunch of compositions that I wrote for classical guitar and jazz guitar. The idea of these songs is to kind of combine the two different disciplines. And I was going to be getting together with Ahmed Dickinson Cardenas, who's a Cuban classical guitarist who lives in London. And we're planning to go to the studio together and record those songs. That's been put, of course, on hold at the moment because of the crisis. I was also booking tour dates because I have a new album coming out on the 15th of May. A new solo album, so I was booking solo tour dates in Europe, and also I was looking at some stuff over in the Americas. So, of course, that is all on hold at the moment, but the album is still going to come out.
Also, you belong to the club of the ones who were caught in the middle of a releasing process, and I'm very sorry, because I know how much energy, how much time we invest, planning the dates and everything. And, since those plans are now on hold, what are you doing now?
So, my mission has always been to share as much music as I can with as many people as possible. And I've always done that by touring and travelling. And things are kind of changed at the moment during this quarantine. So what I decided to do is I started building a music studio in my home. And I've been really composing as much music as possible. On the other side, I'm releasing a vinyl album soon. When you think about vinyl, the whole process of putting a vinyl into the vinyl player and just sitting down and listening to music, and that is the main activity of the moment, is to listen to music. A little bit like a concert, I suppose, a little bit like a private concert. So I'm going to be releasing a vinyl record that's coming out 15th of May, called Looking for a Place Called Home. Of course, it will also be coming out online, things like that. And just that's it. Building the studio, composing as much music as possible, and trying to still reach everyone with my music. That's kind of what I'm up to. I'm trying to not let things bother me too much, and just to get on with it, really. Stay positive, stay happy.
Well put, David. I said it already in this podcast, in another episode, and I will say it again. I think stay positive is right now one of the best kinds of advice one can give right now. Is easier said than done, but we all know the importance of trying, or at least doing our best to keep this flame, this thing that makes art possible, that makes, for instance, songwriting possible, inspiration, willing for life. Call anything you want. I think you're absolutely right. But on the upside, congratulations on the album and the vinyl things, of course. It's awesome. I'm a total sucker for vinyl. I think vinyl has its own charm, and it remains almost as a fetish object. It's really impressive, the power of the vinyl community. So you are in great company. And David, what can you say about the track we are going to hear?
So the song that you guys are going to hear is called The Road to Floyd. And I wrote this song while I was on tour in the USA. And I remember I was driving from Washington, D.C. to Floyd in Virginia, and it was about, I don't know, I remember it felt like a very, very long drive, maybe 4 or 5 hours in reality, but it felt like 8 or 10 or something like that. And we were getting a little bit bored on the journey. We were just kind of wanting to get there. But often, I think, if you make that comparison to life, we make that mistake where we want to get there, but we don't think about the journey on its way. And we're just so concerned about reaching our goals and making it that we forget to enjoy the little moments and the good things along the way. I always see life kind of like stages, and you go through a little stage, and then when you move on to the next stage, there's things from the old part of your life that you miss, but you're also glad to be moving forward. So I think we have to just take advantage of the strange situation that we're in. Spend more time at home, spend more time with our loved ones, spend more time on creativity and positivity, and it'll be all right. We're going to be grand. Don't worry about tomorrow. Just worry about today and get on with things, and it'll be great. So anyway, this is The Road to Floyd. I hope you guys enjoy the song. Thank you so much. Cheers.
Well, thank you, David, very much for your participation, for the great pieces of advice. I loved when you said that you try to not to let things bother you too much. I loved that. I will try to exercise that myself more often. Once again, congratulations on your new release, and thank you for being part of QuaranJazz. As for you, my dear listener, thank you very much for staying with us. I'm Geisa Fernandes, and every week I bring you updates on what jazz musicians are doing during social distancing time. As you know, I will leave the links to my webpage, geisafernandes.com, and also to my mailing list, so that we can keep this conversation. Maybe you are a jazz musician and you'd like to share your stories with us here in QuaranJazz. You're more than welcome. Drop me a line and let's talk. You can also contact me through Facebook. Look for the Touring Jazz Musician. It's a group I've created and manage on jazz festivals that accept submissions directly from musicians. So if the subject interests you, join the discussion, the Touring Jazz Musician. Last but not least, I would like to invite you to check the Social Distancing Festival. QuaranJazz is also part of it, and the link will be, guess what, also in the description of this episode. Till next week, and now, ladies and gents, The Road to Floyd. QuaranJazz. Listen while you're home. QuaranJazz, a podcast by Geisa Fernandes.